Friday, and it's time for Friday's class. Yay! Okay, guys, so like usual, what we need to do on Fridays is start with a review specifically of the grammar we've been going over this week. But we also need to take a look at some vocabulary. In our second class today, we're going to be doing some speaking practice, which is always a little bit weird when it comes to doing it online. Of course, I'm going to be modeling answers. My guess is that what we're going to be doing in the first class will kind of spill into the second class, and that we won't have too much time to do the speaking practice, but we'll see how it goes. And in our last class today, we are going to be doing our elective, which is a music listening elective. We will be listening to the song We Are Young. It doesn't make much sense for me because I'm not so young anymore. But anyhow, guys, good morning. I hope you guys are doing well. Does anybody want to say hello? Or, I don't know, how are you guys today? Maybe Alejandro, maybe Gian, maybe you guys are here. Okay, maybe not, but that's okay. All right, guys, so of course we're going to be starting with our grammar first. So I think it would be a good idea. We are going to review the stuff we looked at on Monday, but we're also looking at some extra stuff here. So please take a look at this sheet here. It says perfect English grammar. Wow, perfect, right? And of course, we're going over used to, right? And we're also talking about using would. So let's take a look at this here, guys. We got used to plus infinitive, right? And it says we use this expression to talk about things, or to talk about habits or repeated actions in the past which we don't do in the present. And that is how we use used to, of course, right? We also use it to talk about states in the past which are no longer true. Okay, so remember when we're using used to, guys, used to plus infinitive, we're talking about past habits or things we did in the past, but they don't happen anymore. But we can also use used to talk about a state of being, right? A state of being in the past, which again is no longer true anymore. So let's look at some of the examples they have here. I used to have long hair. Okay, now the implied meaning here is, of course, but now I have short hair. Now for me, of course, this would actually be the opposite. I used to have short hair, but now I have long hair because of COVID-19. Okay. Oh wow, the second one, it seems like it's also talking about me. He used to smoke, but now he doesn't smoke. Oh dear, okay, I'm kind of the opposite here. For myself, I'd say I used to not smoke, or I didn't used to smoke, but now I do. Ooh, that's sad, right? Okay, last one we have is a state of being. They used to live in India, but now they live in Germany, right? So remember, when you're using used to, you used to do this, you used to do that. The implied meaning is that you no longer do this, right? I'm here, my connection is pretty bad and my comments are showing too late. Oh, okay. Alejandro, don't worry about it, but whenever you do have a question or you want to make an example, just type it out and I'll try to come back to it whenever you do type it out, and we'll see how it goes. Let's try our best. Okay, so getting back to used to on the sheet here, it says say, watch out with the negative and the question. It is use, not used. So when you're talking about the past, or like a habit you had in the past using used to in the positive form, it is USED. However, if you're talking about the past and you're making a question, just use USE. But also, if you're using the negative form, also just use. So let's look at some of the examples here. Did you used to be a teacher? All right. So this is a question in the past using used to, right? But of course, you've got to remove the D. So it's just USE. Did you used to be a teacher? Yes, I used to be a teacher if the answer is positive, right? Did he used to study French? Wow, a lot of these questions are like really good for me. Yes, I used to, USED, study French. She didn't used to like chocolate, but she does now. Okay, so in the past, she didn't like this thing, but she does now. And again, no D. And lastly, I didn't used to want to have a nice house. Okay, so I guess now this person does want to have a nice house. And of course, at the bottom here, it says, note, with this used to, there is no verb be. We can't say, I am used to have long hair. Yeah, it just doesn't work. Okay, guys, now, that was just a very quick reminder or quick review of how we use used to and in what kind of situations. So remember, used to is used when we're talking about a habit in the past. If you are going to be making a question using used to, or you're going to be making a negative statement using used to, remove the D. Okay, but take a look at the back side, guys, or the next page for you guys. We have would plus infinitive. So before we even get into this, remember, would and used to can be used interchangeably. They basically have the same meaning. But remember, would is just more formal, it's more proper. So would is more likely used when you are writing something, and less likely used when you are speaking. If you're using it when you're speaking, usually you're using it to emphasize something or to exaggerate how something was very annoying or very troubling for you, right? So for most North Americans though, for most Canadians and Americans, we use used to much more than we use would. However, if we are writing, that's where we would use would. When we're speaking, sometimes, but it's usually just used to try to show that we are annoyed or angered by something. But anyhow, let's take a quick look at the review here, guys. We can also use would plus infinitive to talk about a habit or repeated action in the past. We usually use would plus infinitive in this way when we're telling a story about the past, or exaggerating something, or emphasizing something. Anyhow, so we can say, let's look at our examples here. When I was a student, we would often have a drink after class on a Friday. Okay, now of course we could insert used to into the sentence instead of using would, right? We could say, when I was a student, we used to often have a drink after class on a Friday. And it wouldn't really change the meaning, right? But this person has chosen to use would. When I lived in Italy, we would go to a little restaurant near our house. Okay, yeah, this sentence is completely fine. But of course, we could also substitute used to into the sentence and replace would, right? When I lived in Italy, we used to go to a little restaurant near our house. Just remember, both of them basically have the same meaning. Would, more often used in writing because it's more formal, it's more proper. Used to, more often used in speaking. But if you use would in speaking, it is completely fine, right? It is okay. It's just not as commonly used. Okay, further on down here it says, however, we don't use would plus infinitive to talk about states in the past. So this is something we talked about on Monday. Used to can be combined with the be verb, have, live, etc. But would cannot, right? So if we're talking about the past, we can't say, I would have long hair, or I would live in Scotland, right? But, okay, actually, let's write that out really, really quickly. So, I would have long hair, and I would live in Scotland. Now, when talking about the past, both of these are incorrect because they are states of being. But if we substituted in used to, then both of them would be fine. I used to have long hair. That is correct. There is nothing wrong with that sentence. I would live in Scotland. I used to live in Scotland. Wow, and that sounds nice. I would like to live in Scotland too. And that's okay. Now, another thing I should note about the second sentence here, I would live in Scotland. This is wrong if we're talking about the past. However, we know would can be used in different ways than just talking about repeated actions in the past or habits in the past. If we took this sentence, depending upon the context, it could be correct, right? Like somebody could say, I would live in Scotland if I were a, I don't know, Scottish citizen. This sentence is correct, right? Because when we're using would here, we're using it in a conditional. So just remember, would is not only used to talk about habits or repeated actions in the past. Would is often used in conditional sentences like the second conditional and the third conditional, right? But yeah, just remember, when we are talking about the past, we cannot combine would with some certain verbs like have or live, because these are states of being and it doesn't work. Okay guys, so we got our first two sheets done. We briefly went over used to, we briefly went over would. Let's continue onwards here, because this next part we're going to take a look at was actually not discussed on Monday, but is incredibly useful because we often talk about these things, and that is another way to use used to. And in this way, we're using it with the verb be, the be verb, like the be, you know. Oh, that's not funny. Anyhow, all right. So to be used to something. This has a completely different meaning from just used to and would. And this is actually really, really useful. So let's take a look at this one here, guys. It says, we use be used to plus verb in the ing form, so the verb in the present continuous tense, to talk about things which feel normal for us or things that we are accustomed to, that we have gotten used to. Well, I'm just using it in that way, right? Okay, guys. So, of course, looking at the first example, I'm used to getting up early, so I don't mind doing it. And this basically equals getting up early is normal for me. It's what I usually do. So, in this sense, we're using the be verb plus used to plus the verb in the ing form to show somebody that we are accustomed to this thing. We have adapted to this thing. We are okay with this thing. We've had a lot of experience with it. So this is a different way of using used to. The second example is, my little daughter is used to eating lunch at noon. So she was grumpy yesterday when we didn't eat until 1. Okay. Wow, and I really do know about that because I do have two daughters, and if they don't eat at the right time, they definitely get cranky and grumpy and upset, and then they get, not violent, but they get angry anyhow. All right, guys, so just remember, when you're using used to, be used to, plus a verb in the ing form, you're talking about something that you are accustomed to. So let me think of some extra examples, right? Now, of course, I am a teacher. I've taught lots of students, right? So for myself, I could say, I am, so we got our be verb, right? I am used to, and then we need our verb in the ing tense, right? I'm used to teaching students, right? This is something that I am accustomed to. I've had a lot of experience doing this, so I don't feel nervous when I do this, right? Okay, so let's think of another example for myself, right? Like a lot of you guys out there, I started drinking coffee at not a really young age, maybe around 16 years old, right? And now I think I'm basically addicted to coffee. But anyhow, I could say I am used to drinking coffee in the morning. Because this is something I do habitually, almost every day. I've had a lot of experience doing this, right? Or, ooh, that's kind of a boring example. What am I used to? Okay, I'm going to write down a more personal example. Or, well, if you are a parent or if you're going to have kids, you have to get used to this. But I am used to my daughters. What am I used to my daughters doing? I don't want to say crying. That's so sad, but that's also true because little kids cry a lot. I'm used to my daughters bothering me. So I'm used to my daughters kind of annoying me or bothering me. It's okay. I've experienced this a lot, so I'm totally fine with it. If maybe somebody has to take care of them and they're not used to that, they're going to have some trouble, right? But again, you've got be verb, and then you've got your used to, and then, and then it comes over here, of course, and then we have our verb in the ing form, right? Be verb, used to, verb and ing. Be verb, used to, verb and ing, right? And again, just remember, when you're using this, you're talking about something that you have become accustomed to, right? So anyhow, it says note that we make the negative or the question with the verb be in the normal way. The used to does not change. So this is different from how we usually use used to talk about a habit in the past, right? Lucy isn't used to staying up late, so she's very tired today. Are your children used to walking a lot, right? So let's make a question using this form. So the question isn't hard because we're just modifying the be verb. We don't need to change used to at all. So let's make a question here. Maybe something for you guys. Are you, what do I want to say? Are you used to, I don't know, are you used to life in Canada? Actually, that is a good question. That's a question, like if you're living in Canada or whatever country, you could substitute Canada for America or Japan or Brazil or whatever. And if you're living there as a foreign person, maybe local inhabitants will ask you, hey, are you used to life in Brazil, in Mexico, in Canada, America, Japan, Korea, right? And if you are, of course, your answer, let's say in the affirmative or in the positive form, you say, yes, I am used to living in Canada. Now, I said life in Canada, and that's correct, but we should follow the exact form, so I should change this to living, right? Okay, but also with the negative, we just modify the be verb. We are not modifying used to. So, what am I not used to? Or I'll talk about somebody else. My wife isn't used to. My wife isn't used to watching Canadian TV programs. So my wife is not from Canada, but she's lived here for a pretty long time. But still, she isn't used to watching Canadian TV programs because, well, there just aren't too many Canadian TV programs. And while Canadian news is quite good and sports is quite good, most Canadian TV shows are kind of boring. I'll just kind of be honest with that one. Anyhow, guys, moving on further down the sheet here, it says we can also use be used to plus noun, which has the same meaning, which I kind of did demonstrate in the question form here. But anyhow, it says, I have lived in the UK almost all my life, so I am used to rain. Now, actually, you could replace the UK here with Vancouver because Vancouver also gets a lot of rain, right? I've lived in Vancouver almost all my life, so I am used to rain. This person is accustomed to rain. Rain is normal for this person because they have lived in the UK, or I would say Vancouver probably gets even more rain. Anyhow, that football team always lose. Oh, there's a mistake here, guys. It should say that football team always loses, so they're used to disappointment. Wow, that's sad. Must be a terrible football team. Anyhow, further on down here we can put the verb be into any tense. So we can talk about things in the past or the future as well as the present using this expression. Okay, it was difficult when I first started university because I wasn't used to the amount of work we had to do. Soon I'll be used to driving in London and I won't be so frightened. All right, guys, so in this sense, we can use the be plus used to talk about things that we are accustomed to, but not just in the present, but also in the future, like the second example. Soon I'll be used to driving in London and I won't be so frightened. So this means the person right now is not used to driving in London, but they think in the future that they will soon be accustomed, used to driving in London, so they won't be so scared, they won't be so frightened. The first example, it was difficult when I first started university because I wasn't used to the amount of work we had to do. This person is talking about them being used to doing a lot of work in the past, and they weren't used to it at the time, so they had a lot of difficulty, right? Okay, it's pretty good stuff. Let's turn to the back side. There's just a little bit more, but give me a second. I'm just gonna erase the board here in case I need to write something down. So we'll erase this here. Dum, 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 dum. Okay, now on the back side, or the last sheet here, it says we can use get used to plus verb ing. Now this is also pretty useful. So to get used to plus verb in the ing form. To talk about the change of not normal to normal, we can also use this in any tense. Now this one here is pretty good. Now let's look at the examples we got. Don't worry if your new job is hard at first. You will get used to it. So what they're saying is, right now you are not used to your new job, but you will get used to it. In the future, you will become accustomed to it. Everything will be okay. So right now it's not normal for you, but it will be normal for you. Okay, it took me a while, but I got used to speaking another language every day, right? Now this is actually in the past tense, but they're saying in the past, they kind of had a hard time learning this new language or being able to speak this new language every day, but they got used to it. They overcame this problem. It was not normal for them, and now it is normal for them, or it was normal for them in the past. And I can really sympathize with this because, yeah, it's very true. When you live in a foreign country and you're learning the language, like if you come here and live in Canada, at first it's going to be really hard, like trying to use English every day. But after some time goes by, you will get used to it, and hopefully you will even start thinking in that language. I have a little bit of experience with that because I lived in Korea and I studied Korean in Korea. And of course, my Korean never got to be really good because I was only there for about 1 year. But I tried to think in Korean. Sometimes it worked. Yeah. Anyhow. Okay, last example. It took me a few months to get used to living in Japan. At first, everything seemed very different, but then gradually it became normal for me. Now, actually, there's another mistake here in the last sentence here. It says, but then gradually it became normal for me. It shouldn't be them, it should be then. But then it became normal for me. So, to get used to something, it means something is not normal for you, but it will become, or it did become if you're using it in the past tense, right? Now, if I'm talking about my experience living in Korea, maybe I'll try to get used to plus verb ing and give you guys an example. At first, I thought kimchi was kind of gross, but then I got used to eating it, and now I sometimes have a craving for kimchi. All right, guys, so what I'm trying to say here, in the past, at first, I thought kimchi was kind of gross. The first time I tried kimchi in Korea, I thought, whoa, like, it was very shocking, right? For a lot of Canadians and Americans, we don't eat a lot of fermented food, right? And fermented foods are foods that are kept for a long time and they start to break down. But German people are very familiar, or would be familiar with kimchi because they eat sauerkraut. And sauerkraut, if you're not aware, and if you're Korean, this might be interesting. Sauerkraut is basically almost the same thing as kimchi. It is also fermented cabbage, but of course German people don't add any spice to it. But anyhow, there are many different fermented foods around the world. But Canadians and Americans, we are not used to eating fermented foods, right? So if we do try fermented foods like sauerkraut, kimchi, there's some in Japan, like some pickled vegetables and this kind of stuff. Usually it's very shocking for us and we think like, oh my God, this is kind of gross or it's disgusting or bleh, you know, it's too like shocking. Anyhow, but yeah, at first when I tried it in Korea, I thought like, oh my God, this is like very shocking, not very good, I don't like it. So at first I thought kimchi was kind of gross, but then I got used to eating it. In the past, I got used to it. I became accustomed to eating kimchi, probably because there was always kimchi in a restaurant or whatever as a side dish, and sometimes I was really hungry, so I ate it, even though I didn't like it. But after about 6 months, I got used to it, and then I started to actually like it. So, but then I got used to eating it, and now I sometimes have a craving for kimchi. Sometimes. Have a craving for. Now, actually, have a craving for is a good expression. If you have a craving for something, it's like you really want to eat or you really want to do this thing, right? Usually it's used with foods, right? Basically, it just means to really want to do or to have something. Like right now I have a craving for an espresso. I really want to have an espresso because I want more energy and I just feel like, yeah, I really need that. Okay, anyhow, so that's just another example of how to use get used to plus verb in the ing form. Now, maybe when you're trying to give somebody some comfort, a good friend, a loved one, they started a new job or they started a new experience and they're having a tough time, right? A lot of times we'll say things like, don't worry, you will get used to I don't know, some kind of verb in the ing form, you'll get used to blah, 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 whatever it is, right? Let's say your friend is having a hard time with his or her new job, right? You'd probably say, don't worry, you'll get used to working there, for example, right? Or they're having a hard time learning this new language, right? They're trying to learn, I don't know, Spanish, right? And they're trying really hard, but they're just not having a lot of success. So you say to them, hey, don't worry, you'll get used to speaking Spanish. Or again, one of your friends, maybe, let's say your kid, your future child, right? Your future child is having a hard time learning how to play soccer and they're getting frustrated. And you're like, hey, don't worry, you'll get used to playing soccer. Okay, good. All right, guys. Yeah, I think that basically covers it. But yeah, remember, using be used to talk about things that you are accustomed to is very common in English. This is another way to use used to in a very common way. I probably use this almost every day. But not just that, but to get used to doing something is also very, very commonly used. So these are two other good ways to use used to, right? It's not just used to talk about habits in the past. If you combine it with the be verb or with get, it does have a different meaning and it is very, very useful. So I hope if you guys are living in Canada that you have gotten used to living here, right? Or I hope that you will get used to living in Canada or life in Canada. Okay guys, but let's stop it here with that portion of the review. Now, I don't want to go back to Monday stuff and go over everything. That would kind of take forever. Because we did also, like on Monday, we went over this sheet here, used to versus would. Just as a quick recap, try to remember what the difference is between the two. And there isn't a major one, right? Used to and would can be used interchangeably most of the time, unless you're talking about a state of being, right? When you're using verbs like the be verb, have, live, and know, you can combine that with used to, but you cannot combine that with would. So that is one difference. The other major difference to keep in mind, of course, is, and I know I keep repeating this, would is much more often used when you are writing because it's more formal, it's more proper, and used to is more often used when you are speaking because it is less formal, it's more casual, right? But remember, when you are speaking, if you want to emphasize that a certain action really bothered you or annoyed you or caused some kind of trouble for you, in this case, you might want to use would. But if you use used to in that sentence, it wouldn't be a big problem. Okay, so let's not go over this in any detail. Now, another thing, guys, though, for your quiz today, it's not just about the grammar, it's also about the vocabulary. And we did cover a lot of vocabulary on Monday. And remember, a lot of that vocabulary was related to the environment, which is always a hot topic in Canada or the United States or probably your country as well, right? These days, a lot of people talk about climate change. Well, actually, these days, a lot of people talk about coronavirus. But before this, a lot of people would talk about climate change, global warming, and this kind of stuff, endangered species or extinct animals, and all that stuff. So we did go over a lot of vocabulary on Monday, and let's just take a quick look at that sheet again. This is probably going to go into our second class, and that's fine because speaking practice usually doesn't take that long, right? So guys, I think a good idea is we had this sheet here, environment. We did cover this on Monday. We also had this sheet here, which I asked you guys to take a look at, but we didn't have time to look at on Monday. So I might want to go over this with you guys as well, but let's look at the environment sheet first. Let's try to fly through this, go through this quickly. Okay, so let's look at the first term we had here. It was acid rain, right? And of course, acid rain was rain that includes a large amount of harmful chemicals as a result of burning substances such as coal and oil. So remember, if you live in a place where there is a lot of pollution, because maybe there's lots of traffic, there's lots of manufacturing, lots of factories, there's coal burning power plants, etc., etc., this pollution will go up into the air and get into the rain, and then you will have acid rain. And acid rain can damage the environment. It can damage soil, trees, it can damage buildings, right? It causes buildings to kind of wear out faster, but it can also damage our hair. OMG, right? So yeah, I always remember my friend telling me I gotta use an umbrella because if acid rain falls on my hair is going to go white or gray, or I might even lose my hair because of acid rain. And at the time, I had really great hair, so I started using an umbrella. Now I have terrible hair. I wouldn't mind acid rain now. Anyhow, so that's acid rain. Next term is biodegradable. That's a really difficult term, but it doesn't actually have a very difficult meaning. If something is biodegradable, it just means you can throw it away into the environment and it's okay because it will break down. Like if you're eating an apple and you have a little bit of waste left and you throw that into the forest, that's really okay. That apple will break down, right? But if you have a plastic bag and you throw that into the forest, well, that's no good, right? Because plastics are not biodegradable. You shouldn't do that. Anyhow, so biodegradable was good. Biodiversity just means a lot of diversity, a lot of variety in plants and animals. We had carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide. I don't think these terms are too useful, but just remember they are forms of harmful chemicals. They're both poisonous. Climate, we all know what climate means, right? Climate is just describing the general weather pattern, right? The climate in Vancouver is generally wet. There's a lot of rain. It usually doesn't get very hot, except in the summer. It can get a little bit hot. I like the climate here. How's the climate in your country? I don't know, Alejandro. Wait, Alejandro, were you from Chile or? I can't remember. Well, Alejandro, I hope you're watching. I think you're from Chile. Oh, sorry, Argentina. Yeah. Was it Argentina? Argentina or Chile? What's the climate like where you live? Is it really? I know, like in Chile, for example, also Argentina. I believe you guys do have a desert-like region where it is actually really hot. But I also know that you have a large mountain range, and in that area, or those areas, it must be kind of cold. You get a lot of snow, kind of like Canada. Could be wrong. Okay, I'm going to shut up. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next one, guys. We've got climate change. Woo! Climate change is the hot topic of the past 20, 30 years, right? There has been a growing concern about climate change. We're all concerned about climate change. Remember, climate change is linked to global warming. Global warming is specifically talking about the temperature rising around the world because of pollution. Climate change is the result of global warming, right? Not all places around the world are going to get warmer, but maybe all places around the world will experience some kind of climate change. Now, this is going to sound very selfish and kind of evil, but a lot of Canadian people in my hometown are not really that concerned about climate change because my hometown is really cold, right? So they're actually thinking if climate change does happen, well, maybe it'll be a little bit warmer up north, right? Maybe that's not so bad. Okay, I'm kind of joking, but anyhow. After that, guys, we have deforestation. Deforestation just means the loss of forest, right? The cutting down of trees. There used to be a problem with deforestation in Canada about 30, 40 years ago. Now, Canada, of course, is a massive country. We got so many trees. We can never use up all the trees in Canada. That's like almost impossible, right? But 30 or 40 years ago, people were concerned about deforestation. They were concerned that Canada was losing trees too quickly. So a lot of companies partnered with the government and they started tree planting programs. So usually every summer they would hire maybe university students to go out to a valley or a mountain or something, and they would be tree planters. And this was actually like a super awesome job because you would get paid depending on how many trees you could plant, right? And I had a good friend that did this 3 summers in a row. For 3 summers in a row, he would spend 3 months living in the forest and planting trees every day. But he was really, really good at it. So I think his best summer, his last one, he made about $25,000 for 3 months' work. That's pretty good money. And then he used that to travel around. So anyhow, but yeah, deforestation used to be a problem in Canada. Not so much anymore. We do have a lot of trees. I'm not worried about it. Anyhow, backside, guys, we had decertification. Sorry, not decertification, desertification. Desertification. That's not about eating a delicious dessert like ice cream, right? Desertification is about the spread of deserts. I think usually when we talk about this, we're talking about the Sahara Desert in Africa and the Gobi Desert in China. Those deserts are expanding. There's a lot of desertification going on that is hurting the climate, right? So yeah, the process by which land changes into desert, not a good thing. Disposable products are items that were intended to be thrown away after use. Disposable nappies, right? Nappies is another term for diapers, right? Every reasonable parent, when they have a baby, of course, buys lots of disposable diapers, right? If you try to use cloth diapers because you are concerned about the environment, I think you're probably insane because you have to clean that cloth diaper all the time. It would be too much work. It's a nice idea, but it doesn't work. Anyhow, moving on, we have the term drought. Remember, drought is kind of a natural disaster, right? There are many different kinds of natural disasters. Drought is one of them. Drought is a severe lack of rain. There's not enough water, right? So yeah, just as a long period when there is little or no rain. So drought, like I said on Monday, drought often leads to famine. Famine is a severe lack of food, right? If there's a drought, people can't grow crops because there's not enough rain. This will lead to famine. There's not enough crops, so people have nothing to eat. And famine leads to starvation, which means people will die because they have nothing to eat. And of course, we know that this happens sometimes in countries around the world, but I think more specifically in Africa. And actually, I saw this really interesting New York Times report yesterday, and they were talking about how right now around the world about 1 or 2% of the world's surface is mostly uninhabitable. Like people cannot live there. And the reason why is because that area is actually just too hot. Humans can't live there. So if we're thinking of countries, we think like in the Middle East, around Saudi Arabia, Oman, Yemen, these countries in the Persian Gulf. Some of the areas in those countries, like it's actually too hot. If you lived there and you were working outside, you would die. Oh, Alejandro, good. I'm Colombian, and in my country we don't have season and the weather is cold between 14 and 18. Oh, cool. Alejandro, thank you for the info. I'm sorry, I thought you were Argentinian or Chilean for some reason, but you're Colombian. Cool. You guys have the best coffee. Am I right? I think I'm right. You guys got the best coffee. Actually, I'd really like to go to Bogota. Bogota and Cali maybe, and something with an M. Give me a second. What is the name of the city with an M? Bogota. What is the name of the city? It's maybe your second largest city in Colombia. Unfortunately, I think it used to be famous because of Narcos, the TV show. Meh, 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 meh. I'm going to find out later, but maybe if you write it down, that would help me too. But I'd love to go to Colombia someday because I'm a really big coffee fan, and I know you guys got top quality coffee. But anyhow, moving on, guys. I talked too much about drought. Let's look. Earthquake is also, of course, another natural disaster, and that is when the earth is shaking. So earthquakes do occur in countries like Japan, China. It can happen in Canada, not very frequently, but it can. America. A lot of people don't know this, but California has suffered some pretty bad earthquakes in the past, and they can continue. Mexico gets bad earthquakes sometimes. Peru, Chile, etc. But also in Europe, I know Italy suffers from bad earthquakes once in a while. Anyhow, after that we have endangered species, which was basically the topic of this week's assignment and everything, right? Of course, an endangered species is a species of animal, could be plant, well, no, it's just animals, that is close to becoming extinct, which is another word we're going to look at. So if they're endangered, basically they are in danger of almost dying, right? Energy, when we're talking about energy, we're usually talking about something that produces electricity, oil, coal, but could also be green energy like wind, solar, etc., nuclear power, that kind of stuff. Energy conservation is about conserving energy. Not going to talk about that very much. Environment, I think we're okay with that. And extinction is such a useful word. We will look at this for a second. And extinction, of course, or if you say something is extinct, the dodo bird is extinct, right? It went extinct. It just means they're all dead, right? They're all gone, right? So the dodo bird, or I think tigers, not around the world. Of course, there are still tigers in India and maybe Central Asia somewhere. I know there is some in Russia, Siberian tigers, but I know Korea in the past used to have tigers, but there are no tigers in Korea anymore. It's so sad, right? But tigers are scary, so I kind of understand why. So tigers went extinct in Korea, right? That's too bad. I know, actually, Alejandro, if you're watching and paying attention, the flowers are pretty. Medellin, yes, yes. Thank you very much, Alejandro. Famous city for the flowers and pretty ladies. Medellin city, or maybe city at the coast. The name is Cartagena. Yeah, I think I was talking about Medellin because, again, I know the TV show Narcos is pretty controversial in Colombia, but actually, after I watched that TV show, I didn't get a bad impression of Colombia. I didn't think like, oh, Colombia is a scary country. Actually, it's total opposite. After watching it, I thought like, wow, Colombia is like a really beautiful country, and they have awesome coffee. So I'd really like to go, and I'd like to go to, yeah, Bogota, Medellin, and Cali, the coastal city. Maybe you're right. Maybe Cartagena. But Bogota and Medellin specifically, I would like to go to at some point. All right, guys, but I think we have to take a break. We only got 1 minute left. I think what we'll do after the break is continue with this, look at some of the idioms, and get into some speaking practice, which will probably spill into the third class, but I think we'll still have time for the music listening topic. So let's take a break, guys. I'll see you again in 10 minutes. Hey guys, welcome back. We are now in our second class and we're going to continue onwards with our review of vocabulary for Monday. So guys, we were taking a look at this sheet here. We are actually at the bottom of, I think for you guys it would be the second sheet. For me it's on the back side. The last word we have here we looked at was extinction. We're done with extinction. Let's move on to flood. F-L-O-O-D. A flood is basically, you could think of it as the opposite of a drought. So a drought, of course, is a period of time without any rain, without water, and it leads to, famine and starvation. But a flood is when there is too much water, right? And the rivers rise too quickly and it spills onto land and it damages property, etc. So yeah, the explanation they have here is just a large amount of water covering an area that is usually dry. And that is a flood. Now, floods are another natural disaster. They do happen in my hometown because we have a big river. And occasionally, let's say in the winter, it was really cold, there was a lot of snow. So there's a lot of snow in the mountains. And when the spring, when it gets too hot too quickly, sometimes the snow melts too quickly, it gets into the river, and then there is a flood. So actually, to be honest, I have kind of a good or like pleasant memories of floods because it was kind of a fun time with my brother. I know that sounds weird, but with my brothers and my dad, we'd have to get sandbags and make a wall around our house. It looked like a little castle, so I actually had a fun time during that time. But obviously, no, floods can be very damaging. Next term we have is fume or fumes. Fumes are like some kind of smoke. It's gas or smoke, right? And it can make you sick. Fume, not terribly useful, so let's move on to natural resources. Natural resources are things from the environment like minerals, forests, coal, plutonium, uranium, gold, copper, bronze, etc., which exist in a certain place and humans can mine them and extract those minerals or cut down those trees or get that oil, and it usually helps the economy a lot. A country like Canada, of course, we're very lucky. We have a lot of natural resources, right? The United States also has a lot of natural resources. Or if we think about, I think South America also, you guys got a lot of natural resources. Alejandro, probably in Colombia. I think you guys have a lot of natural resources. I don't know that much about Colombia. I know you have good farming land. I know you guys have a lot of trees, probably. You guys probably also have minerals, but I'm just not that aware of it. But anyhow, so those are natural resources. Moving on to the next one, we have global warming, which is that big topic. And of course, global warming is just talking about the gradual increase in the temperature around the world, which is related to the greenhouse effect, which is useful, but yeah, I think we'll move on. Greenpeace is an organization that fights to protect the environment. Pretty popular international organization. And then we have renewable energy. Renewable energy is a good one. I hope you guys can remember. If something is renewable, we can use it again and again because it will replenish itself, it will come back. Besides renewable energy, we can also just call it green energy, right? So that's talking about things like wind power, tide power or wave power, solar power, that kind of stuff, right? Oil slick, guys, I can't recommend this. Oil slick is just when there's oil on the land or in the water. Let's skip that one. Ozone layer is the protective layer around the atmosphere of Earth. Again, not very useful. Let's move on. Let's take a look at pollution. So I think we all know what pollution is. It's just damage caused to water, specifically the air, by harmful substances or waste. Depending on where you live, if you live in a city with a lot of cars, manufacturing, factories, oil or coal burning power plants, there will be a lot of pollution in the air, right? I think everybody here knows that unfortunately China produces a lot of pollution. Can't really blame them, they make a lot of products, but I think China and India are probably the most polluted countries on Earth. I could be wrong. I think Bangladesh is also quite polluted. Canada does have a few places, of course, that are polluted, but thankfully where I live in Vancouver and British Columbia is not very polluted, honestly, because we don't have a lot of manufacturing here, so there's not a lot of pollution. Anyhow, next term we have is to recycle waste, right? We all know what recycling means, so let's just move on. Of course, I think everybody has to or tries to recycle. Sustainable development is a big topic these days, and that's just the idea of developing land, creating buildings without hurting the environment, trying to make it sustainable so that we can continue for a long time, right? Tsunami, that is a Japanese word, but that has been borrowed by English from the Japanese language to describe a large wave that usually occurs after an earthquake, right? So another natural disaster. Unleaded petrol, not useful, skip. To use up natural resources just means to continue using something until it starts depleting, right? Until there's very little of it left. Use up is actually a good expression though. If I say, for example, I used up all the sugar. That basically means there is no sugar because I used all of it, right? Or if I said, he used up all, I don't know, what's another thing you could use up? All the milk. Basically that means there is no milk because he used it all. In that case, of course, he drank it all, but anyhow, so to use up is pretty good. Oh, and Alejandro, Colombia have one of the biggest coal mine open sealing of the world. It's really bad for the environment. Yeah. Those open pit coal mines, really bad for the environment. I do understand, like, we do need energy, we need power. Coal is usually the cheapest way to produce electricity, so I do understand why countries are doing that. Of course, I hope we can move onwards to using green technology, wind power, solar power, etc. But it's just more expensive, but maybe in the future it'll get cheaper and we'll stop using so much coal and oil, right? I think that's already happening. Like, if we think about car companies like Tesla, and you probably know Tesla is that car company from the States that makes electric cars and I think an electric truck now. Hopefully more people will buy those. I know they're kind of expensive though, but hopefully more people will buy those and we'll stop relying on things like oil and coal so much. Anyhow, guys, so to use up is a good expression, to use up, or past tense, used up. Moving on to volcano. Volcano is another form of a natural disaster, right? So volcanoes usually looks like a mountain, but there's a large hole in it and it's connected to the Earth's core, and sometimes lava comes out. I think the most famous volcanoes are usually in Italy, but there are famous volcanoes in Canada and America as well. Maybe you guys are familiar with, I think it was Pompeii in the ancient Roman Empire, totally destroyed by an eruption at a volcano. And anyhow, last one here, guys, is waste. Waste, of course, is a useful word, right? Whether you're using it as a noun or as a verb, right? Waste as a noun, of course, just means garbage or trash. Canadians generally, and Americans as well, we generally use the terms garbage and trash more than we use the word waste. But when we do use waste, we more often use it in the verb form, right? To waste something. And a lot of times we use it when we talk about time, right? I shouldn't waste your time. That's something I shouldn't do, right? So if you guys, you came to watch me and I didn't teach anything and I was completely quiet and you were watching the video and you just saw me, I would be wasting your time, right? So of course I shouldn't waste your time, and I hope you guys don't waste your time either. Okay guys, but that about does it for reviewing that vocabulary. This next one, guys, I want to take a look at. I'm a little bit sorry because this was actually on Monday, and I told you guys to look at this, but we didn't have time to go over it. Please take a look at this. I don't know if this will be on, I don't think this is included for your material today, but if you can find this one, it was from Monday, that would be useful. If you can't find it, it's okay. I'm gonna write the idioms down on the board, and then we're gonna think about how we can use them. So, 1 second. Dun, 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 dun. So guys, where are we? Okay, so this sheet here, it says, let's reach for the stars, together we can save the world. Maybe, right? I'm a pretty pessimistic person, so I'm not so sure about that. Now, there are a number of idioms on this sheet. If you don't have the sheet, don't worry too much. I'm gonna write them down. Let's take a look at the first one in the top center. The first expression is down to earth. Down to earth. If we say, for example, she is so down to earth, or he is a really down to earth kind of guy. The meaning when you say somebody is down to earth, the meaning of this is that they are very, very casual. They are casual, natural, and relaxed. So if somebody says to you, you are a really down-to-earth person, this is a good thing. This means that you're kind of a casual, natural, and relaxed person, right? If you're the kind of person who has a very stressful life and you look like you're stressed and you're always angry, you are not a down-to-earth kind of person, right? But if you're the kind of person who takes it easy, you're kind of easygoing, you're natural, you're casual, somebody could say you are really down to earth. So down to earth is a good expression. It is pretty good. Yeah, down to earth. Okay. Moving on. Another expression we have is don't beat around the bush. Now, actually, I shouldn't have included don't. Basically, it's to beat around the bush, right? To beat around the bush, the meaning of this is to waste time not directly dealing or talking about an issue. Okay, so to beat around the bush basically means you're wasting time, you're not directly talking about the issue, right? Canadian people actually do this quite a lot. Like maybe I want to ask my boss for something, but I don't ask my boss directly. First, I just start talking about the weather and how his family is, all this stuff. But maybe my boss gets tired and he says, hey, stop beating around the bush and ask me for what you want, right? And basically that would mean like stop talking about useless things and just be direct, right? So let's see here. Yeah, an example might be somebody saying, stop beating around the bush and speak to me directly. So yeah, just think of like beating around the bush as like wasting time, not dealing with an issue directly or not talking about an issue directly. Now, if you've ever met, for example, Americans are like this, but actually Americans, it depends on where they are from in the United States. Canadians definitely do this, but I had a German friend in the past, and he told me like German people, they really don't like wasting time, especially when they're at work. So German people are the kind of people who don't beat around the bush. If they have a problem, they tell you directly. If they want something, they ask you directly. They don't make small talk, right? They're not like, hey, how's your family and blah, 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 and oh, hey, can I borrow this or can I do this? They're a very direct people, right? So my German friend, he was working in Canada, and for him, something that was really frustrating was that a lot of Canadian people would often, if they had a problem with him, they wouldn't tell him. They would beat around the bush and talk about a lot of useless things until they finally asked him. Anyhow, so beat around the bush, kind of an interesting one. The next one I want to look at is on the bottom left, and it starts with why on earth ... Now, why on earth is not some kind of difficult idiom or expression. When we start a question with why on earth, this is really just emphasizing or exaggerating the fact that we are really confused about why this happened. We're just making this question a lot stronger and showing our confusion, right? So basically this is used to emphasize and or exaggerate a question. So, you probably have something similar in your language as well, right? Let's say somebody does something really, really crazy, like you're having breakfast with your brother or sister, and all of a sudden they slam the table, right? And you really don't know why. Like, why did they do that? You could say, why on earth did you do that? Why on earth did you slam the table? Well, what's going on? What's wrong, right? Now, a lot of English speakers, we might use an expression stronger than this. We might say, why the hell? Why the hell did you do that? Why on earth did you do that? Or what on earth, right? What on earth is that? What the hell is that, right? Where the hell is he? Where on earth is he, right? So instead of using earth, you could also just say the hell. Why the hell? Where the hell? Who the hell, right? Hey, do you know who that guy is? I have no idea. Who the hell is that guy? Who on earth is that guy? Why on earth did that happen? Why on earth did you do that? What the hell? Who the hell is that? Who the hell, right? We use those kind of expressions actually a lot. And I'm sure in your guys' language also, you have similar ways of making a question stronger. In English, we can say why on earth, or we can say why the hell, what the hell, where the hell, who the hell, how the hell, right? How on earth? Who on earth? Etc., etc. So actually, really, really useful. It doesn't have a difficult meaning, but it is really useful. And if you don't want to use this one, You can also use the hell. Just be a little bit careful. It's improper. It's not formal. You don't want to use it around really old people or people you don't know well. But if you have some friends who speak English and you're confused by something, you know, you can ask that, right? Like, let's say you're in a bar and you're like, man, where is the bathroom, right? You ask your friend, where the hell is the bathroom, right? Or, where on earth is the bathroom? Who the hell is that? Who the hell are you? What the hell is that, right? Really commonly used, really good stuff, right? But why on earth or on earth, it's okay to use that with people when you are surprised. But the hell, you want to just be a little bit more careful with that. Okay, guys, but let's move on to some other expressions and idioms. 1 second. So down to earth, beat around the bush, and why on earth. So we'll get back. Okay. On the bottom center, it says we're going to be in deep water if they don't clean up our oceans. So to be in deep water. I think the meaning here is probably pretty easy to guess. To be in deep water means basically to be in trouble, right? Now, if you're married or in a long-term relationship, especially if you're a guy with a girlfriend or wife, also if you're a girl and you have a husband or, boyfriend, sometimes you get in trouble with your significant other, right? So I could say, for example, this is kind of a true story. This happened about a week ago. I didn't do the dishes, so I'm in deep water. So I didn't do the dishes, so I'm in trouble, right? Sometimes instead of saying deep water, we can also say hot water, right? So pretty easy expression, guys. It just means you're in trouble. Okay, let's move on to, now the bottom right-hand corner, it says drop in the ocean, but I don't really like that expression. I don't use it myself. Above that, it says where on earth. So that's just a continuation of using on earth, and that's good. But okay, above that, neck of the woods. I'm sorry, guys, I don't use it. We're gonna skip that. So that's about it, actually. One other good expression is earth to. Earth to somebody. But this is usually a person's name. Now, if we say, like, if I said this to you, like if I said earth to Alejandro, or earth to Gian, or earth to you, but usually with a person's name. The meaning of this is like, maybe you are spacing out or you are not paying attention, and I'm trying to catch your attention. So used to grab or catch somebody's attention when we think that they are spacing out. Now, spacing out is actually a really useful expression. Maybe we could talk about that in a second. But let's say in the classroom, you're daydreaming, right? You're thinking about what you're going to do this weekend, or you're going to go on this awesome trip, and like you're like, wow. And your teacher is like, your teacher sees you, and they're like, what is this person doing, right? Like they're not paying attention. They might say something like, earth to Simon, and then ask a question afterwards. Like maybe they're supposed to submit their assignment, right? Like, earth to Simon, do you have your assignment? right? So earth to somebody just means like, hey, wake up, pay attention, right? Now, the other thing I wrote down here, guys, is spacing out. So the expression is to space out. And to space out is kind of a funny one, pretty commonly used in Canada and America. So this one is actually really good. To space out means to not be thinking, or to basically be brain dead. Here's an example of spacing out. Like your eyes are open, but your mind is turned off. So if I'm like this, somebody could say, hey, Allan, stop spacing out. Come back to earth. Wake up, dude, right? Or you see your friend John, and your friend John, maybe they've been having a stressful time recently, and you're like, hey, John, how's it going? And John's like that. You're like, John, stop spacing out. Wake up. I want to talk to you, right? So space out is a good one. I use this personally quite a lot, whether it's with my friends or family members. My mom tends to space out sometimes, so I have to say, hey, Mom, stop spacing out. Like, you know, I have a question for you, or I want to talk to you, right? Okay, guys, but we got that done, so we're good with that. And yeah, okay, we're pretty good. So what we can do, guys, is look at some of the speaking practice questions, and I can model some answers for you guys. I'm just going to erase this here, if you don't mind. And yeah, let's take a look at some of these speaking practice questions. So erase, and let's look. So guys, turn to the sheet. It just says speaking practice, and it says questions relating to endangered species, because that was our topic of the week. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I am very interested in current events. I'm very interested in the news, and I am interested in climate change, global warming, and that kind of stuff, but it's not one of my main interests. So when it comes to this topic, I might not have the best answers, but let's see how it goes. Oh, the first question is good. What is the difference between vulnerable, endangered, critically endangered, and extinct species? Okay, that is actually a really good question. What is neck of the woods? Oh, hey, Gian. Hey, nice to see you. Oh, so Gian just asked, what is the meaning of neck of the woods? Okay, now actually, Gian, I skipped neck of the woods because I don't use this expression. I don't think it's commonly used in Canada or the United States, but we can talk about it for a second. So neck of the woods, or if you say my neck of the woods, basically this just means your area or your environment. So if we say my or your or his or her neck of the woods, the meaning is my, your, his, or her area or neighborhood. So my neck of the woods would mean Vancouver, because I live in Vancouver, right? Gian, if you're living in, actually I don't know where you live. I think you're in Korea. Maybe you're in Seoul or Busan. If you said in my neck of the woods, blah, 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 you would be saying like in Seoul, right? Or in my neighborhood, in my area, right? Alejandro, we know he is from Colombia, and he is from, I think he said Bogota. Well, actually, Alejandro didn't say what city he's from, but he's in Colombia. If Alejandro says in my neck of the woods, he would be saying like in my area, in Colombia, or in Bogota, or in Medellin, or whatever, right? So anytime you use my or his, your, her neck of the woods. You're just talking about your area, his area, whatever, my area. That's all it is. But like I said before, I can't really recommend this expression because I don't use it myself very much. Okay, but guys, sorry, let's get back to questions relating to endangered species. What is the difference between vulnerable, endangered, critically endangered, and extinct species? Okay, the difference between these words is basically how can I say, the amount of threat that this animal or species is under. If we say that is a vulnerable animal species, that means they're in trouble. The number of them is decreasing. If we say they are endangered, that means that animal species is really decreasing too quickly and they are in danger. They might go extinct. If we say critically endangered, this means the situation is very serious. If we don't start protecting these animals, they could all die. The number right now might be very few. And lastly, if we say this species is extinct, they're all dead. So basically, these words can be viewed in relation of like power, right? So if we think of it, vulnerable goes up to endangered, increases to critically or seriously endangered, and lastly, extinct. And they're all dead. So if it's a vulnerable species, that's not good, but there's still quite a few of them left, but they're in trouble. They're endangered. The number is decreased to a certain point where we should really think about something we can do to help them. They're critically endangered. They're almost all gone. If we don't do something soon, they're all going to die. And if they're extinct, it's too late. They're already dead, right? Now, also remember vulnerable, though, as an adjective, is something we can use to describe our current state of being if we're having a tough time, right? When my dog died, when I was a kid, I felt really vulnerable. I felt really weak, like I was in a weak state, right? Children, of course, are vulnerable to drugs and alcohol. So we have to keep kids away from drugs and alcohol. Vulnerable is a really good word. Okay, but let's look at the next question. This is a good question for Alejandro and Gian. Because Alejandro, you're from Colombia, and Gian, you're from Korea. Says, are there any endangered species in your country? So Gian, please think about Korea, and Alejandro, think about Colombia. Are there any endangered species in your country? Are there any kinds of animals that are still alive? There are still some, but they're in big trouble. They could almost die if we don't protect them. What do you guys think? I'm just going to erase this stuff here. So this is basically like the second question. My answer would be in Canada. Now, actually, on Monday I talked about polar bears, but I'm not too sure. Okay, guys, this is kind of cheating. I'm gonna use my phone. Let me do some research. What animals are endangered in Canada? Canada's pretty lucky. You know, we're a big country, so not too many animals are endangered. But what animal species are endangered in Canada? Endangered species in Canada. What do we have? Okay. Oh, they don't list too many things here. Okay, sea whale, blue whale. What? Oh, that's not in Canada. Na, 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 na. Wow, I can't find an easy answer, guys. Sorry. It mentioned some kind of butterfly. I don't really know about that, but I'm gonna imagine. I think polar bears are endangered. So in Canada, polar bears are endangered. So we are trying to protect polar bears, right? But Gian and Alejandro, if you didn't hear my question, just keep thinking about it. Think about animal species that are endangered in Colombia or Korea. Okay, but we'll move on to the next one, guys. It says, is anything being done to help protect these species and their natural habitats from extinction? That's a really good question. In Canada, I would say yes, we are trying to recycle, just like you guys are, more often and create less pollution, right? So in regards to polar bears, one of the reasons why polar bears are endangered or in trouble currently is because, of course, their habitat, their environment. Polar bears' neck of the woods is very far north in Canada, and the ice is melting, right? And that's damaging their neck of the woods. It's damaging their environment. So, of course, Canadian people, we're trying to recycle more often. We're trying to use less energy, create less pollution so that we don't damage their natural habitat. Oh, awesome, Gian. In Korea, otters are endangered. No, not otters. Otters are so cute, right? Everybody loves otters. If you come to Canada, there are so many otters in Canada. Actually, in my hometown, oh, there's so many wild animals in my hometown. But when I was a kid, I used to really like otters and beavers, and they usually live around the river. So if I went like hiking or whatever with my brother or friends, like it's hard to find beavers because they're very secretive and very quiet animals and they try to hide. But we could find them sometimes, but we'd also see otters sometimes, and like otters are pretty, like I guess they do kind of gross things, but actually otters look really cute, right? Anyhow, so I'm very sad for otters, right? In my country are several species endangered: Andean condor, spectacled bears. Oh, spectacled bears. Yeah, those are the bears that look like they're wearing glasses, right? Oh man, yeah, I forgot that those are from South America. I guess people forget that there are also bears in South America. And the condor is such a big bird, right? Yeah, that's too bad. Okay, but yeah, this question is also good for you guys, Alejandro and Gian. Like, what are people doing? Are people trying to help those endangered species, and what are people doing? You don't have to give like a really detailed answer. My answer is pretty basic. Just, we're trying to recycle more often, create less pollution. But I'm gonna look at the next question. Next question is, a tough one. Why do you think so many species around the world are becoming endangered? For me, the answer is pretty obvious. I think more animal species are becoming endangered because of global warming and climate change. Also, because of rapid population growth in some countries. Now, not Canada, now actually I think, I'm not sure about Alejandro and what you think in Colombia, but Gian, I think you would know, like in Korea, in Japan, in Canada, in Western Europe, we don't actually have a problem with population growth. We actually have the opposite problem in Canada. Actually, not enough people have children. So our population is actually decreasing, but Canada is a popular country to immigrate to. So because of immigration, Canada's population is growing, but not very quickly, right? However, in countries, some countries, I think like India or Pakistan and Middle East and Africa, the population is growing very, very quickly. And these people need food. They need to do farming. So I think because of the population growth in some countries, these people are encountering animals and maybe hunting and eating them or destroying their natural habitat. So I think population growth is a big problem, but also, of course, global warming and climate change are leading to many more animal species being in trouble. Like, I think in Canada, there's a certain species of frogs that are endangered because the planet is getting warmer, right? And is damaging their neck of the woods. Anyhow, so that's my answer for number 4. Let's move on, take a look at number 5. We have the question, oh my God, what? This is a big question. What are some measures we can take to shorten the list of endangered species? Some animals which are on the list include giant panda, tiger, blue whale, Asian elephant, snow leopard, gorilla, orangutan, pangolin. So number 5 is similar to number 3. What are some measures? What are some actions we can take to shorten the list of endangered species? Basically, this question is asking us the same thing. How can we help endangered species, right? What can we do to help endangered species? My answer would be similar to number 3. We can recycle, use less plastic products and electricity, and basically try not to damage the environment. Okay, I know that's kind of a boring answer, to be honest, but yeah, we can recycle, use less plastic products and electricity, and basically try not to damage the environment. I think that's how we can help endangered animals. Again, I don't think that's like really an interesting answer, but I think that's true, right? If we want to help endangered animals, we should try to damage the environment much less than we already are, right? I think like an interesting infographic or statistic to take a look at is like the amount of pollution created per person per country around the world. And actually Canada is pretty bad for that. Like I think the main reason why though is Canada is a very big country. Like if you want to go somewhere, you have to drive for a long time. If you drive for a long time, you're creating more pollution because you're using more oil, you're using more gas. But Canadian houses also, like in the countryside or in the suburbs, Canadian houses are also quite large, unnecessarily large. So I think we create more pollution. Okay, now Alejandro, that's a good answer. Alejandro said, limited consumption of meat and dairy products. That's also another way that we can help animals, right? By limiting the amount of protein we get from animals and also less dairy. this kind of helps out a lot, right? Because a lot of people don't know this as well, but cows create a lot of pollution, right? And cows require a lot of land. So I know like right now in Brazil, maybe this problem is also in Colombia, they're cutting down the, what is it called? The Amazon rainforest. They're cutting it down to make room for cattle farms to raise cows, right? And this is causing two problems. First, they're cutting down all those wonderful trees in the Amazon rainforest and destroying the natural habitats of many animals that live there. But two, they're raising cows, which actually create a lot of pollution, right? So I think, yes, Alejandro, you're right. If we reduce the amount of dairy and also meat that we consume, this would probably help the planet a lot, actually a lot more than people think. Okay, so that's a really good answer, guys. But yeah, let's erase this. Let's look at maybe one more question. Then we're gonna just take a short break here. Okay, so next one we got here, guys, is yeah, okay, it says, do you think humans will ever be an endangered species? Wow, that is a tough question. So this is just your personal opinion. Do you think humans will be an endangered species? Humans as a whole, as a big group, humans? My answer is going to be actually no. No, unless there is either a nuclear war or a massive increase in temperature that destroys our habitat. Okay, so that's a tough question, right? Humans being an endangered species. I would say probably no, but unless there is, no, but if there is either a nuclear war, so nuclear war would mean countries like the United States, Russia, China, etc., using nuclear missiles and boom, and fighting each other, which would be terrible, of course. If there is a nuclear war, yes, I think humans would be endangered. Or if there is a big increase in the temperature because of global climate change and global warming that destroys our habitat, then yes, I do think we could be, but generally my answer would be no. However, certain groups of humans have been endangered in the past. And what I'm talking about here is, for example, let's say Jewish people in WW2. So I don't think humans as a whole are endangered or have been endangered, but certain groups of humans have been endangered in the past. So Jewish people in World War II, of course, Hitler and the Nazis wanted to kill all Jewish people. So basically in World War II, Jewish people were endangered, right? But also gypsies and other groups of people. But guys, we have run out of time for our second class. Let's take a break, get back to it in about 10 minutes. We'll continue with the speaking and then we'll do our elective. So I'll see you again in a moment. We are in our third class. What we're going to do, guys, is we're just going to continue with the speaking practice for a little bit. Then we're going to move on to our music listening class, which will be hopefully kind of fun for you guys. I heard from my coworker that sometimes it's difficult for you guys to hear the music. So when we are listening to the music, if you can't hear it, please just tell me and I'll try to make it louder or something. All right, guys, but I addressed number 6. Let's look at number 7. 7 says, okay. Which endangered species would you least like to see disappear and why? So which endangered species are you most concerned about? My answer is, like, I'm a big dog lover and cat lover. I love dogs, I love cats. I know that tigers are, of course, endangered around the world. I also know that they're very dangerous, but I think the world would be a really sad place if we didn't have tigers anymore. So, which endangered species would you least like to see disappear and why? I would least like to see tigers disappear. So basically that's my answer. I'd least like to see tigers disappear. If tigers went extinct, I would be sad. I think tigers are like really cool kind of cat. So if they all died, if they were extinct, yeah, I think I'd just be really sad. I don't know why. There are no tigers in Canada, but I just think that's really sad if they all die, right? Anyhow, so that's my answer for number 7. So you guys think about it too, but I'm going to erase these two because we got a couple we've got a couple more questions to take a look at here, and then we'll do our music listening. So our next question, number 8, it looked like it was complicated. What do you think about animal testing in general? Okay, so we have to think about what animal testing is. Animal testing is when medical companies or pharmaceutical companies or cosmetic companies use animals to test their products, right? And so usually they use like rats, mice, monkeys, chimpanzees, this kind of stuff. I think it's pretty sad, but for example, right now, like lots of companies around the world and universities are trying to develop a vaccine for the coronavirus. During their testing, I think they're going to be using like chimpanzees, apes, gorillas to test it on. Honestly, I think that has to be done because they're very similar to humans, and it's better to test it on animals first and humans next. In my personal belief, I think that unfortunately humans are just more important. I don't think animals should be used in really bad ways, but I think animal testing is sometimes, unfortunately, necessary. But not for cosmetic companies, not for makeup. I think that is really useless, right? So I'm going to say here, unfortunately, I agree with animal testing for medical reasons, but not for cosmetics. So that's just my own personal belief. Of course, you guys can have a different opinion, but I do think that unfortunately it sometimes is useful, sometimes necessary. Like we have to make sure that vaccines or medical products are safe for humans. I think it's better to use it on animals first and later humans if it's successful. Okay, what are your thoughts on captive breeding? Wow, that is a tough question too. So captive breeding is the breeding of wild animals in places such as zoos, especially animals which have become rare in the world. So I know that, like, of course, zoos will breed, they will have a male gorilla and a female gorilla sleep together, so hopefully they will have, baby gorillas. I never really thought about this before, captive breeding. It's well, it'd be awful if we did that to humans, right? So it's not nice that we do that to animals. Yeah, that's a tough question. What do I think about that? I don't actually think very much about that. I basically think that it is sad. Yeah, I think it's sad, but maybe necessary when certain species are endangered. Like, some species are endangered, their natural habitat is decreasing very quickly, they could all die, but maybe they're living in a zoo. In that case, I do think it's okay to engage in captive breeding, but I still think it's pretty sad. Yeah. Okay. Last one, guys. Our question here is, the greatness of a nation can be judged by the way its animals are treated. This is a quotation from Mahatma Gandhi. Of course, I think you guys probably know who Mahatma Gandhi is. Probably one of the most famous or great leaders of the 20th century from India. Very peaceful guy. He helped India become an independent country, independent of the United Kingdom. So yeah, he's a great guy. But yeah, the greatness of a nation can be judged by the way its animals are treated. Do you agree with this quote? Actually, I think I do agree with this quote. I'd say yes, basically, because successful nations take care not only of their people, but also their animals as well. I'm not like some kind of hippie or environmentalist, but I think great countries, they try their best to do their best for their people, and I think they try to also protect animals as well. So I do think this quotation by Mahatma Gandhi is at least partially true. Okay, guys, but we are done with the speaking practice. No more of that. If you guys still have a comment to make, that's great. Go ahead, make the comment. That's okay. But we should probably move on to our listening material, or our elective. Now, actually, your listening material here is, it's titled, We Are Young. Now, that might be true for you guys. Maybe you guys are young. You're in your 20s, maybe your early 30s. That's awesome. I am not so young anymore. I'm in my mid-30s. Oh my God, right? So scary. Anyhow, but yeah, it's a pretty popular song. And I want you guys, don't look at the first page, because I think the first page has the answers. Please start on the second page, I believe, where at the top we have a crossword, right? Now, we have to complete this first. This is what we're supposed to do first, and then after, we are supposed to listen to the song and fill in the blanks here. So let's try this out together. Hopefully this is kind of fun, and then we'll see how it goes. So guys, I'll erase this stuff here and take a look at the empty crossword. Please don't look at the answer key, because if you look at the answer key, it's kind of cheating, and then it's not very fun, and you know, it's just not good for anybody if you look at the answer key. All right, guys, so taking a look at We Are Young, at the top, we've got our crossword. We have across and we have down. Let's start with across. Okay, and we have numbers 2, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15. Let's see if we can figure this out. Okay, so this could also be hard for me. I'm not going to look at the answer key. So 2 across, you guys can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is a 6-letter word, and it says there are 12 blank in a year. What are there 12 of in a year? Does anybody have an idea? 6 blanks, 6 letters. There are 12 of these in a year. What is it? So 6 of those. Let me take a look at 9 across. 9 across is even longer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. All right, guys, does anybody have an idea? There are 12 of these in a year. What are there 12 of in a year? Think about it. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. August is coming soon. September, October, yay, October, November, December. There are 12 months in a year. Okay, good. So we got our first one. Let's take a look at 9 across. 9 across. You wear these when the sun shines. Okay, so think about it, guys. This one, you wear these when the sun shines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm pretty sure, Alejandro, you probably wear these in Colombia. I think it's a very sunny country. And there's another hint. Let's take a look. Now, I want you guys to think about it. If you get an answer, just tell me. Number 10 across, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blanks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Number 11, you sit on this. Ooh, short. 1, 2, 3, 4. 12 across, 1/60th of a minute. 6 blanks again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 15 across, somewhere drink is sold. 1, 2, 3. Okay, guys, now think about it. Can you guys get an answer? Number 9 across. You wear these when the sun shines. When it's very sunny outside. What do you wear? That's my hint. Or number 10 across, the opposite of remember. What is the opposite of remember? Or number 11, you sit on this. What do you sit on? Number 12, 1/60th of a minute. 1/60th, what is number 12, right? Now 1/60th means 160 underneath it. Somewhere drink is sold. Now number 15, that you guys might be confused. You're like, drink, somewhere drink is sold. Like, what is this drink? Is it milk? Is it water? They mean alcoholic drink, alcoholic beverage. What place sells alcoholic beverages? All right, guys, so we know number 2 is months. Number 9, you wear these when the sun shines, when it's sunny. Yes, Alejandro, you got it. Sunglasses. And that can be all one word. Wait, did I not include enough blanks here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oops. Sunglasses. Okay. All right. Thank you. Oh, and Alejandro, you got forgot. Wait, which number was this? Number, the opposite of remember. Yes, you're right. Forgot. Okay, good. And of course, yeah, you guys just fill it in the blanks here. So Alejandro, did you think about number 11 across? You sit on this. What do you sit on? What do you sit on? It's only, what was it, 4 blanks, right? Yeah, 4 blanks. It's not chair, right? Because chair is C-H-A-I-R, and that would be 5 blanks. Ah, the computer. Sorry, 1 second, guys. Keeps turning off. And I can't have it turn off because I need to play the music from it. Okay, maybe you guys are having a hard time with this one. You might be thinking like stool or chair or, I don't know, maybe you're thinking like ground or floor or something. But actually the answer is very simple. It's just seat, S-E-A-T. You sit on a seat. Okay, number 12 across, 1/60th of a minute. 1/60th of a minute is wait a starts with an S. What could it be? 1/60th of a minute is second, right? And there we go. 1 second, please. And so 15, somewhere drink is sold. Gian or Alejandro or anybody, do you got an idea? What do we call places that sell alcoholic drinks? Beer, vodka, rum, Baileys, etc., or some kind of mixed drink, whatever it may be. What is it? Okay, it looks like you guys don't have an answer right now, or maybe the internet's working too slowly or something. The answer is B-A-R, bar. Okay, so we got all our answers for across, right? But we have more for down. So, guys, let me erase this if you don't mind. I hope you guys got all the answers. Months, sunglasses, forget, seat, second, and bar. Okay, so let me erase this here. And let's take a look at the second portion of our crossword here. Going down. Okay, so down we have 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 13, and 14. So we got more here. 1 down is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 blanks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And 1 down is New York's most famous skyscraper. Skyscraper is a very tall building. What is New York's most famous skyscraper? Okay, 3 down, we have when a cut heals, you get one of these. Where is 3 down? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 4 down, they live in heaven. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Number 5 is the opposite of old. Oh my God, that's too easy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, number 6 down. The verb for fire. Wow, okay, 6. Where is 6? I'm actually having a hard time. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 7. The opposite of opens. Oh, that is way too easy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And number 8 down, where you live. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 13, a group of singers in a church. Where is 13 down? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 14, the opposite, huh? The opposite of opens. What? 14 down. The opposite of old. 1, 2, 3. Wait. 14 and 5 seem to be the same thing. They're both the opposite of old, but just different ways to refer to the opposite of old. Okay, right. Okay, guys, but yeah. Let's take a look at number 1 down. What is the name of New York's most famous skyscraper? I think it was made a super long time ago in the 1920s. I could be wrong about when it was made. Now, of course, you might be thinking like the 9/11 towers. They're not talking about that. Don't think about that. They're thinking about an older building. I think it was made in the 1920s. It's very, very famous. It might be famous. Yeah, all right, Jian Kim, you nailed it. You got it. Yes, you're talking about the Empire State Building, right? And now, of course, nowadays it's not actually that, big, but at the time it was the world's largest skyscraper. So yes, Empire State. You got it. Awesome. Okay, so guys, let's think number 3. When a cut heals, you get one of these. Now, you guys might not know this. It's not a terribly important word, but yeah, if you get a cut on your arm or on your body, whatever, it will heal, but you'll still have that line there. What do we call that? Well, we call it something starting with an S. Also, I think it's the name of the bad guy in the movie The Lion King. What was the name of the bad lion in The Lion King? All right, so I'm going to give you the first letter. Maybe think about it. Okay, next one is they live in heaven. Who lives in heaven? Hopefully your dog, right? If your dog passed away. Just kidding. Well, no, hopefully your dog does live in heaven. Hopefully my dog lives in heaven too. Who lives in heaven? It's those, I don't want to say people, well, I don't know. Starts with an A. They kind of wear white. They have a golden or yellow halo above their heads. Usually they're, Alejandro, yes. Oh, Jian Kim too. Yes, Scar. Good. You guys got it at like the same time. Okay, good. Anyhow, number 4 down, guys. You know these kind of people wearing white. They have a gold halo above their head. They usually have wings, or that's what we imagine. How do we refer to these people? All right, so I'll give you guys some time. Number 5 down, the opposite of old. But think of like old person. What is the opposite of an old person? I am a little bit old. You guys are probably this. So I'll give you guys some time to think about it. Number 6, the verb for fire. Wait, where is the verb for fire? The verb for fire. The verb for fire is, okay, never mind. Okay, I actually looked at the answer key, guys. Sorry, being lazy. Okay, Jian, yeah. Jian, you got it. Yes, it is angel. But in this case, it's angels, I think. Yeah, wait, 4 down, A-N-G-E-L-S. Yeah, angels, because we got plural form. So yeah, angels live in heaven. Jian, good. You also got the next one, young. I wish I were young again. Anyhow, so number 5 is young. Number 6, the verb for fire. This one might seem a little bit hard. What is the verb for fire? It starts with B. 4-letter word starts with B. When you set fire to something, we say it is burn. It's burning, right? Burn. Yeah, Alejandro, good. You got it. Burn, right? Okay, 7 down, guys. The opposite of opens. Where is 7? Opposite of opens. What is the opposite of opens? Opens. So we know there's going to be an S at the end. That's my hint is not helping, right? Maybe this is how I do this to doors. Open the door and, you know, it starts with a C. I'm pretty sure you guys are going to get it in a second. Number 8 down is where you live. Now Gian, yes, but not the past tense form, closed, right? Or the adjective form. We're going to use the present continuous. We're going to say closes. He closes the door. I closed the door. Anyhow, but we're going to use this one here. Okay, but good, Gian, you got it. 8 down, where you live. Where do you live? 4 letters, pretty easy. Where do you live? Of course, it starts with an H. This is too simple, so I'm going to wait for you guys to get it. Number 13 down, a group of singers in a church. Yeah, home. Alejandro, you got it. That one was too easy. This one is hard. 13 down. A group of singers in a church. What do we call a group of singers in a church? It actually starts with a C. This one is tough. I don't know if you guys know the word, so I'm going to wait a little bit. And again, 14 down is the opposite of old, but think in this case, old product, old computer, old, yeah, my computer's old computer, old car, old something, just 3 letters, bang, bang, bang. My phone is old. I wish I had a something phone. In this case, not a young phone, because young is just used to describe people and animals, right? This is too easy. I'll give you the first letter, though. It is N. Anybody for this one? A group of singers in a church or opposite of old? Okay, good. Yes, Gian, you got it. It is called a choir. So a group of singers in a church, you know, usually they're saying like la 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 la, no 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 no, something like that. So yes, that's a group of singers in a church. They are a choir. And 14 down, opposite of old. I don't want to buy an old car. I want to buy a new. I want to buy a new car. Anybody? I'll give you guys a moment. After this, of course, we're going to finally listen to the song. Hopefully it goes well. Hopefully you guys can hear. And I will need a pen, actually, because I'm going to have to fill this in as well. I don't have an answer key for this. Okay, guys. Maybe the internet's not working well, or you guys have tuned out for a second. But what we're looking for here is new. New. I want a new car. I don't want an old car, right? I need a new car. Yes. Okay. All right, guys. So new. All right, guys, so we got our crossword filled in. I don't think anything here is really, okay, yeah, you guys got it at the same time, awesome. I don't think this is really, really hard. I think most of these words you guys are already familiar with, or this was a good review. So let's move on to the actual song, guys. This is our last thing for today. We have the We Are Young song, and we have blank. So what we're going to do, guys, we will listen 2, maybe 3 times. After listening, I will check the blanks with you guys. I think the blanks are mostly words that we filled in for the crossword, but I'm not 100% sure because I also have to fill it in. And yes, you guys, please say something if you can't hear very well, right? I'll try to turn it up so that it's loud enough, but we'll see how it goes. Okay. All right, guys, so let's do it. Let's listen for the first time. Okay, hopefully this pen works. Okay, here we go.
Give me a second, I need to get my story straight. My friend bar closes and you feel like falling down, I'll carry you home tonight. We are young, so let's set the world on fire. We can burn brighter than the sun tonight. We are young, so let's set the world on fire. We can burn brighter than the sun. Now I know that I'm not all that you got. I guess that I just thought maybe we could find a way to fall in one. But our friends are back, so let's raise the bar. 'Cause I found someone to carry me home tonight. We are young, so let's set the world on fire. We can burn brighter than the sun tonight. We are young, so let's set the world on fire. We can burn brighter than the sun. So if by the time the bar closes and you feel like falling down, I'll carry you home tonight.
Okie dokie, guys. I hope you guys were able to hear that. I hope it was loud enough. I know that you can hear the song, but sometimes it's a little bit hard to hear the lyrics. But yeah, all of the blanks here are all related to the vocabulary we went over in the crossword. So I don't think this is actually that hard, although there are certain points where, again, it's hard to hear the lyrics. Now, of course, and also I am a native English speaker, so this was pretty easy for me to fill in. But yeah, I think we're going to have to listen just one more time. Then we will look at the blanks, maybe talk about it a bit, and then we'll be done today's class. So, guys, let's listen again. Let's try one more time. I know it might, I don't know if for you guys it's too loud. For me, it's a little bit loud. I might turn it down just a little bit, but here we go again.
Give me a second, I need to get my story straight. My friends are in the bathroom getting higher than the Empire State. My lover, she's waiting for me just across the bar. My seat's been taken by some sunglasses, asking about a scar. And I know I gave it to you months ago. I know you're trying to forget, but between the drinks and subtle things, the holes in my apologies
Oh, something happened, guys. Maybe it's the internet. Okay, let me try to fix it. What happened here? Okay, 1 second. Sorry about that, guys. Let me try to get back. Is it the internet or something? Okay, here we go again. I'll try to go back to the... Okay.
bar closes and you feel like falling down, I'll carry you home tonight.
Okay, guys. All right, so we listened to it a second time. I hope you were able to catch most of the blanks. Even if you didn't catch most of them, I think you could make some pretty good guesses based upon, the vocabulary that we looked at in the crosswords. But let's look at it anyhow, guys. I hope the sound quality was not so bad. If you had a really hard time listening, if you wanted to listen again, of course, you could just search on YouTube for We Are Young by the band Fun. I guess they're a fun band. Okay, nobody's laughing. All right, so moving on. So guys, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Basically like 5 stanzas or paragraphs. Let's start with the top left, then the right, then the middle, then the bottom left, and lastly the bottom right, and 6 paragraphs, and the very last one. So first paragraph, guys, we had give me a, what? He said give me a second. So this number 1 means first paragraph. So second, I need to get my story straight. My friends are in the bathroom getting higher than the Empire State. So they're getting very high, which is a bad thing. But anyhow, my lover, she's waiting for me just across the bar. My seat has been taken by some sunglasses. How did the sunglasses take his seat? Asking about a scar. Okay, now I'm giving you guys the answer. Sorry, Gian. Yeah, good. You're right. Second. I'm really sorry that I'm moving really, really quickly here. I'm sure you guys got most of the answers. It's just we're kind of running out of time. Okay, but let's move on to second paragraph. Anyhow, I know I gave it to you months ago. I know you're trying to forget. But between the drinks and subtle things, the holes in my apologies, I'm trying hard to take it back. So if by the time the bar closes, because we have 2 blanks, and you feel like falling down, I'll carry you home. Wow. What a nice guy. But actually, if you think about this paragraph, it's really weird. Okay, guys, let's take a look at number 3. Number 3 is the chorus. And the chorus is pretty short. Tonight, we are young. So let's set the world on fire. We can blank brighter. We can burn brighter than the sun. So let's move on to the next paragraph, the bottom left one. Now I know that I'm not all that you got. I guess that I just thought maybe we could find new ways to fall apart, but our friends are back, so let's raise a cup, because I found someone to carry me home. Okay. And then 5 is the really long part. Carry me home tonight, just carry me home. Carry me home tonight, just carry me home tonight. The world is on my side, I have no reason to run. So will someone come and carry me home tonight? So home is repeated a number of times. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then after that we got the something never arrived. Somebody never arrived. It is, of course, the angels. The angels never arrived, but he can hear the choir, right? He can hear the choir. So will someone come and carry me home tonight? So again, home, 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 home. Angels, choir, home, right? This guy really likes talking about going home. I guess he's drinking too much in the bar. And so very last one, the bottom here. So if by the time the something something and you feel like falling down, I'll carry you blank tonight. So if by the time the bar closes and you feel like falling down, I'll carry you home tonight. All right, guys, so this song, it was super popular, like, I don't know, like probably 8 years ago, maybe even longer, 9, 10 years ago. There is a little bit of information here. Okay, in the notes it says, this was a 2011 single for American band Fun and featured R&B singer Janelle Monáe. Note that the song contains references to drugs and to being drunk. So in this song, like he's talking about being in a bar, he talks about, raising a cup and drinking alcohol, right? But he also talks about doing drugs, right? He says that his friends are in the bathroom getting higher than the Empire State. So, when we drink alcohol, we get drunk, right? When you do drugs, illegal drugs, you get high, right? So the song's about like being in a bar and getting drunk and getting high and having fun with your friends. It was written by singer Nate Roos, who hoped to recreate the atmosphere of a fun, carefree night out with friends. So this song is trying to create the atmosphere, the environment, the feeling of being young, going out with your friends and drinking a lot and maybe doing illegal drugs, although that's bad, of course we shouldn't do that. And like having a carefree, easygoing time. And when I was listening to the song, of course, I thought it does recreate that feeling. We're young, we're in our 20s, we're gonna go out, we're gonna get drunk, it's gonna be awesome, I'm gonna drink, I'm not gonna do drugs, but I'm gonna drink, we're gonna have a really good time. But the one paragraph I'm very confused about, and I think is very suspicious, actually 2 paragraphs. The first 2 stanzas or paragraphs, he's saying to his lover, who is, most likely a woman, he said, "My lover, she's waiting for me just across the bar. My seat's been taken by some sunglasses, asking about a scar." So I think what he's saying here is he's coming back from the bathroom, and his lover, his girlfriend, is sitting down, but his seat has been taken, the seat next to his girlfriend, right, by a pair of sunglasses. And I think that means some young guy wearing sunglasses. And the guy's asking about a scar. In the next paragraph, it says, I know I gave it to you months ago. I know you're trying to forget. What did he give her months ago? Is he talking about the scar? He gave her a scar months ago. She's trying to forget. But between the drinks and subtle things, the holes in my apologies, you know I'm trying hard to take it back. He's trying to apologize for this scar. So this is a really weird song. It seems like, like, oh, it's really fun. It's about young people going out, getting drunk, and having fun. But he's also saying, like, that maybe he hurt his girlfriend. He caused a scar to this girl. Now, we don't know if this is a physical scar or maybe a mental or emotional one. But yeah, that's just really weird. I don't know why that's in this song. It's supposed to be about having fun. But then he's also talking about his girlfriend having a scar. So maybe he's a bad person. I don't know. But anyhow, guys, that about wraps it up for today. Don't think about that too deeply. That's just for fun, but some good vocabulary. I hope you guys have a good weekend. Remember, you can take the quiz when you want this weekend. Remember, there's a written portion and a speaking portion. Of course, before you take it, please review the grammar and the vocab, right? And try your best. So you guys have an excellent weekend, whether you guys are in Canada, Korea, Colombia, wherever. Have a good one. I'll see you again on Monday.